Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream and welcome to all your latest Chelsea transfer news. Big up to everyone that's already locked in. Make sure you're smashing up the likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. All that good stuff. Hope everyone is feeling well and refreshed on this Sunday after the shenanigans of last night, finishing at 1:40 a.m. in the UK. Not sure where else it was finishing around the world, what time. Obviously, in America, it wasn't terrible, but get involved in the chat. Let me know what time the game finished, wherever you were watching it in the world. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit tired today. Yeah, not ideal, but we're through to the quarterfinals anyway. We'll cover the game. And we'll also dive into all the latest transfer news, chat, because there's big developments in the pursuit of Joao Pedro. And he wants to join Chelsea over any other Premier League club. Chelsea have intensified their talks to try and sign the Brighton man and expect things to develop quite quickly in the next few days. We obviously have the here we go for Jamie Gittens last night, a couple of hours before kickoff. We've got a few more details on that deal, total transfer fee, and the fact that Bayern Munich tried to last-minute hijack the deal for the 20-year-old. We've also got the latest on Chelsea Stadium as well, with the Blues holding talks with Sadiq Khan's office, who's the mayor of London, over a potential new stadium. So lots to dive into, chat. As always, get your thoughts in, smash up the likes and all that good stuff. Subscribe. And before we dive into it, a quick reminder as always, make sure you check out Jersey's FC Soccer Shop, chat. Make sure you're looking fresh in the Chelsea home shirt or away shirt for the upcoming season. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off. Link in the description. Great quality, affordable prices, names, numbers, patches, whatever you want. Make sure you check it out. Look fresh throughout the summer and for the new season. Code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Now, enough about that, chat. Let's say hello to some of you people, and then we're going to get this step in. Have we got Gittens deal done? Rather have Kudos over Joao Pedro. I probably would as well. Yeah, for sure. Kudos coming bye-bye, Nonny. Potentially, if that happens, maybe. Estevad to take Nonny's place. He can't be sent on loan. He's too good. Let's wait and see what happens. I think we get Kudos too if Nonny leaves. Yeah, definitely a possibility. Yes, big up to the people. Big up. I'm tired after the game a bit as well. Another Conference League. So I think that's a bit harsh. I don't agree at all that that's a Conference League signing or that he would be a Conference League signing. I disagree. The ref during the Benfica-Chelsea game was a crook, bro. It was Chelsea beat FIFA. The referee, Benfica, the weather, whatever was thrown at us, we battered it away. But yeah, we were playing Benfica, not Benfica, as I said in the match review earlier. Nobody believes Blue Coat PR that Bayern wanted Dortmund. Well, I mean, let's see. It's big up, brother. 1-0 PSG, no surprises there. Charlie, Pedro and Gittens for me is not enough. We're not improving and acts like a UCL club. No, look, I agree with you, brother. It's not quite enough. It's not enough, but it's going in the right direction. However, it's not enough quality to close the gap to the teams in front of us. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Look, and Nkunku did very well last night. And Nkunku did a great job last night in that game. And maybe this slight tweaking system actually suits him. But yeah, no, I would still be surprised if he stayed. I really don't expect Nkunku to stay. But no, look, Mazza, I wouldn't read too much into that. It's obvious that Maresca is going to use players that he trusts and players that know the system in these knockout games. He's said many times already that Santos needs more sessions, needs to understand how to play. He's only been with the squad for a few weeks. Maybe the fact he didn't come off the bench, maybe that could be looked into. I think we're doing a bit too much here, personally, in my opinion. I think we're doing too much of the Santos stuff. And actually, for what it's worth, Dewsbury Hall scored a great goal last night, and he was actually decent. He was decent. Yeah, ref was terrible. We're finally using Nkunku in his position. Yeah, but he's going, bro. So big up, brother. Yes. Yeah, bro, I absolutely agree on this. And look, if he's happy to stay and be a squad player and accept that he's not going to play that much, then I've got no problem with him being in the squad. He is probably too good to be getting pity minutes in the Premier League and starting the odd cup game here and there. But if he's happy to do that, then then fair enough. Always gives 100%, always works his socks off, and never moans about playing time. It's a shame we've got so many options in midfield, but if he wants to stay, I've got no problem with it. Caicedo suspended next game. Yep, absolutely. Big up, brother. He's just a solid pro. He's a solid pro. And if he's happy with the role that he's got right now, then I've got no issue with him staying. No issue whatsoever. Anyway, let's get into it, chat, because no sooner than we closed the Jamie Gittens deal yesterday is the Joao Pedro deal now accelerating, chat. The foot is on the gas with Chelsea's pursuit of Joao Pedro. Fabrizio Romano saying that Chelsea have now intensified talks to advance on Joao Pedro deal. Chelsea are focused on Joao deal with Brighton after signing Jamie Gittens with medical yesterday. Newcastle have had 2 proposals rejected by Brighton, and Chelsea are now pushing. Now, the big thing here is going to be the fee. Now, again, we're not accountants. It shouldn't matter to us. All we should be thinking about is, does the player make Chelsea better? And if that's yes, let's get the deal done, and let's put the money on the table and let's fucking crack on. However, fees are spoken about, and anything in excess of 60 million quid is a lot of money for Joao Pedro. Is a lot of money. But we have to do what's best for the team at this point in time. And if Joao Pedro is deemed as what's best for the team and is an improvement, then let's go and get this fucking deal done. Let's cut to the chase and let's not waste time. That's how I'm viewing this. Now, clearly we're stepping things up now. Chelsea is starting to click into gear in the transfer market. And I know there'll be some people that are thinking, oh, God, it's another Brighton player. Oh, why are we going to Brighton again? Cucurella and Caicedo, 2 of our best players. All right, Sanchez is shite, but I think we knew that anyway. And Joao Pedro is a lot better, by the way, chap. Joao Pedro is a lot better than a lot of people are making him out to be. A lot better. Was he my number 1 choice? Was he my first choice? No. I'd be lying if I said, that Joao Pedro was even in my thinking or even in my thought process at the end of the season as a transfer target. That would just be a flat out lie. However, in terms of the versatile forward market, he knows the Premier League. He's a Brazilian international, 23 years of age, got 16 GA in the Premier League last season, is versatile across multiple positions, and there's a lot of room for improvement. Let's not make out that this would be a shit signing, because it wouldn't be. You can say that it wasn't your first choice and whatnot, and I've got no issue with that. But let's not reinvent the wheel and say that Joao Pedro isn't good, chat. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's be fair and let's be realistic with Joao Pedro. Let's be fair and let's be realistic. I think this one will happen. Sky reporting that Pedro wants to join Chelsea over other Premier League clubs. That shouldn't be a surprise, given one of his teammates gave an interview saying that Pedro wants to live in London and would give preference to any moves coming from clubs in London. So I expect this deal will probably happen at some point. And I don't really have that much of an issue with it. It's being reported that he would be a replacement for Christopher Nkunku in the squad. I think that's what we're looking at there. And, would he start on the right? Would he play on the left? Would he start in a 10? He could play down the middle. It's a really good, versatile squad option to have. And he also can be moulded as well. He'd be a very good signing, especially if we're going to continue using that 4-2-2 sort of hybrid system that Maresca's been using in the Club World Cup. And I think this is. I don't think this is that bad, chat. I don't think this is that bad. I really don't think it. He was very good at Watford. He's been effective at Brighton under De Zerbi and Fabian Hürzeler. No, he's not what you would describe as a quote-unquote needle mover. But it's absolutely a signing I don't mind. And it could turn out, chat, to be a very, very shrewd piece of business. You know, a shrewd piece of business. But I agree that we need to push on, and we need you know, more proven signings. I absolutely hear that, chap. I absolutely hear that, and I'm not knocking it at all, bro. I'm really struggling to see why you think it's poor. I don't think it's poor at all. You know, I think his profile suits Chelsea. He knows the Premier League, and he's comfortable in multiple attacking positions. As a replacement for Christopher Nkunku in the squad, he's 4 years younger. Why is that so bad? Why is that so bad? I'm struggling to understand. You know, and one thing Pedro does have over Nkunku is he's got work rate. He works really hard. And I do believe he is a Champions League level player. He's a great ball carrier, good dribbler, and he's a decent creator. And he's got a good eye for goal as well. However, I get it. You could see him as, people might say, oh, you know, he's just an expensive utility player. But ultimately, he's going to be the Felix Nkunku replacement. And primarily, he'll probably be a rotation option for Cole Palmer, which we desperately need. So I'm struggling to see why it's such an issue, chat. I really am. I really am. You know. No, but bro, not like, just because you've not played in the Champions League before, you know, we don't necessarily need Champions League experience. We just need top level quality. We need quality. You know, we do need decent level quality, chat. You know, I can't lie here. We absolutely do. What about his injury record, bro? I don't think the injury record is even that bad. Let's have a look at Joao Pedro's injury record. I really don't think it's that bad. Let me have a quick look now, chat. Stats, injury history. So he missed, literally, chat, last season he missed one game. One game with an ankle injury he missed. He missed 11 games in the 23-24 season with a hamstring injury. And then at Watford in the 22-23 season, missed another 11 games with an ankle injury. And then, so he missed 16 games for Watford in the 22-23 season. Bro, the injury record for Pedro is not bad at all. It's not techie whatsoever. It's absolutely fine. Pedro can play as a number 9. He can. But again, he'll primarily be a backup 10, backup option on the wing. You know, a really useful utility player and just a harder working version of Christopher Nkunku. He might not be more talented than them, but he's a harder worker, and he's probably going to suit the Enzo Maresca system better. And ultimately, it's all about getting players that suit the system, chat. It's all about getting players that suit the system. Look, Kudus could still come, by the way. Kudus could still come for that right wing spot. You know, we could still move for Mohamed Kudus. That is not, you know, that is not unheard of. That is not unheard of whatsoever. It is a distinct possibility. Distinct possibility, chap. A distinct possibility. By the way, this drink was absolutely exceptional. Cosmic vibes, sparkling fruit burst flavor. Unbelievable, chap. Anyway. What are you lot saying about Pedro? Get in all the pressing merchants. I think, yeah, he works hard and he presses from the front, but that's important. The work rate, whether we like it or not, chat, the work rate's important. But I agree with this comment here. Let me just get to it now. Chelsea want both Kudus and Pedro. Yeah, I agree. Because I think Kudus would be coming in, if he did come in, Kudus would come in as a right-wing signing chap. I think he'd come in as a right-wing signing. And Pedro's seen as more of an Nkunku Felix replacement. So, yeah, this is going to be... It's going to be fascinating to see... no drinks advert for me. No drinks advert for me. But if the money's right, then Celsius Live Fit, get in touch with me. Get in touch. Other drinks are available. In fairness, chat, I can't lie. I was looking for the Lando Norris Monster because I was flagging a bit after the late night. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find the Lando Norris Monster. So we had to settle for this instead. But anyway, enough about my boring drinks escapades. Let's get back to it. Hope we go for Kudus. Yeah, chat, sort it out. Let's smash up the likes. Smash up the likes, chat. We're only on 50 likes. We are almost 200 in the building. Make sure you keep smashing that like button. It's free and takes seconds to do. Let's run the likes up and subscribe if you're new around here as well. Esteban needs a loan. He's not ready. Yeah, I do hear that. I do absolutely hear that. And to be honest, he'll probably stay and be part of the first team squad. But equally, if they could find a decent loan for him in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, I equally wouldn't be against him going on loan either. I wouldn't be against him going on loan, chat. Wouldn't be against it at all. Excuse me. I wouldn't be against it. Yeah, well, look, we're going to be looking at the same sort of targets as Newcastle. We're going to be looking at those. Big up, Luke. Thank you for that, brother. Yeah. We are going to be looking for those kind of targets, similar targets to Newcastle. If they're looking for a versatile attacker, then they miss out on Pedro. They're going to try for Kudus, aren't they? They're going to try for Kudus. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see how this is going to develop. But moving on from Romano's update, there's also an update from Ben Jacobs on the Joao Pedro situation. Chelsea haven't entirely ruled out trying to sign Joao Pedro before the second Club World Cup registration window, which closes on July 3rd. So how many days is that? In about 3 or 4 days' time. In about 3 or 4 days' time. Talks with Brighton ongoing, with Pedro understood to be keen on a move. Of course he is. When you're massive, you're massive. Chelsea content if they have to wait longer, but pushing in the next few days in case Pedro can fly out to America and potentially feature in the tournament or simply spend time with the squad. Newcastle remain interested. Brighton have turned down 2 bids in excess of 50 mil. I'll be perfectly honest, chat. If we get past Palmeiras and we've got semi-final settings in New York in the Big Apple, by the way, anyone in the chat from America, anyone from the chat going to be heading to New York for the Club World Cup semi-finals? Let me know. Because if we make the semi-finals, chat, I can't lie. I'm very, very tempted to fly out to the Big Apple. So is there anyone in the chat from New York or anyone in the States? Let me know. Because we're going to have a look. Of course we're going to have a look. Of course we'll have a look at the flights to New York, chat. Of course we'll have a look. It might potentially happen. It might happen, chat. It might have to. So anyone in the chat from the States or from New York, let me know. Let me know because, it could be happening. Do I take the gamble and book flights, presuming we're going to get past Palmeiras, or do we just wait for it to get a bit more expensive and it's a dead cert? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, the point is here, chap, I don't really see much issue. I don't really see the point in rushing to get this deal done for Pedro in the next 3 or 4 days, because even if he flies out to the States, right, he's going to have what? 1, maybe 2 games if we make the final. But the chance of him being up to speed, actually featuring in any of these games, is very, very minimal. Very, very minimal. It just seems like a bit of a pointless exercise and a bit of a rush. If he has a week with the squad and he can, get used to it, get some training sessions in and whatnot, and Chelsea feel like would be beneficial, fair enough. But I don't really see the rush in trying to get him out and register him for the next round of the Club World Cup, because we've got Nkunku, you know, who's actually doing all right in this competition. And my thing would be, would he even play, chat? Would he even, if we signed him before the window, right, and registered him, would he even play? Would he even play? That's the thing. I just don't see the point in rushing this, you know. Yeah, okay, if you think other clubs are going to become involved, let's strike whilst the iron is hot. Let's keep the momentum going and whatnot. But in terms of the Club World Cup, I think we need to forget about that. I just think it's a bit stupid to try and rush that. I really do. But Pedro or Kudus as an inside forward in that sort of 3-4-3 system or 3-4-2-1, however you want to look at it, that we saw against Benfica, that could be a really shrewd signing and a really good fit for that sort of position. But yeah, guys, I don't think we need to be having any sort of situation where we're rushing to get Pedro out to the United States at this point. It doesn't make sense to me, chat. It doesn't make sense. But if you look at Pedro's profile, by the way, guys, if you look at Joao Pedro's profile, and again, the fee is going to be very, very interesting. How much is going to be up front? How much of it's going to be based on bonuses and whatnot, you know, and add-ons? But if you look at this, right, and the stats here show, So, Joao Pedro versus PL strikers per 90 minutes. First in key passes, first in offensive duels, first in through balls completed, second in shot assists, second in passes complete, and second in progressive passes. This is someone that ranks very highly in a number of key statistics against other Premier League strikers. This is someone who is a top four. This is someone who is a Champions League caliber player. This is absolutely someone who's a Champions League caliber player. Yeah, I've been ages ago. But haven't been for a while. So yeah, we're strongly considering it. Yeah, look, honestly, you can say that it wasn't your first choice, or you can say that you weren't really that keen on him, but to say that he's not that good is just nonsense. Because it's simply not true, chat. It's simply not true. I'm not saying Delap's not ready. I think people have gone overboard on him, but he's going to add a much-needed different dynamic to the attack. A much-needed different dynamic to the attack. We'll have a short preseason. Any time with the team is a bonus. Yeah, I hear that. I do hear that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to accept, guys, that you are more than likely going to, if you really want a player and you feel that that player is going to make a difference to your team, you are going to end up spending more than ideally you'd probably like to. But ultimately, if that player makes a difference to the team, then that's just something you're going to have to accept and something you've got to take on the chin. You're not going to get every single bit of business at a price that you want and at a deal that really suits you. It's just not going to happen. The thing is, right, we haven't got Pedro yet, but let's just, the 55 million for Gittens, we're going to get onto this Gittens stuff, right? But 110 million pounds, okay. Again, that's committed to spending that. That won't all be going on the books this year. It'll be amortized over 5 years. So if you're spending 55 million and you divide that by 5 this summer, what's 55 divided by 5, chat? So how much money is going on the books this summer for Gittens? 55 divided by 5. 11 mil. So that's 11 million on the books this summer for Gittens. So Gittens this year So Gittens is going to cost you 11 million a year over 5 years. When you look at it that way, that isn't that bad. No, we're not accountants. We're not. But some people are talking about fees. So I'm just letting them know that it's going to be 11 mil over 5 years, and that's not all going on there. So yeah, I don't know, chap. I don't know. But it will be an interesting one. But Pedro's definitely top 4 quality, chap. Definitely top 4 quality, or Champions League level quality. Sorry, definitely Champions League level quality. So it would be an improvement on what we've got. But I agree. When you see Liverpool signing a Florian Wirtz and whatnot, Man City, Cherky, Reinders and whatnot, and then you see Chelsea signing Joao Pedro, I get it. You feel like the gap's actually not really closing to the teams above us. I get that. I get that. But ultimately, though, chat, it's not always the big names. You know, you don't always have to go for big names. It's about profiles, and it's about which profiles suit the team the best. And Pedro, I think, is a really, really good profile. And I'll say this, as Marvo said, you know, it's profiles are more important than names. If you can get a name and profile together, fantastic. But the profile is king. Profile is king, chap. Profile is absolutely king. So let's wait and see. I'm not sure if Robertson is leaving now because Atletico Madrid have already signed someone different. But yeah, look, they got Kirkes in. They'll start to phase Robertson out. Yeah, it is. And this is what people need to understand is that these young kids, they are just young kids. They're going to need time to adapt. They're going to need time to get used to things. They're going to need time to speed up, you know, get up to speed with the Premier League. You know, these guys are very unlikely to hit the ground running. Yeah, we do need a backup left back. We absolutely do. But yeah, let's wait and see, chat, how this move for Pedro you know, develops over the next few days, because I expect stuff to happen over the next few days in this Joao Pedro pursuit, because it looks like Chelsea are ramping things up. It looks like they want to get a deal done as quickly as possible. Yeah, bro, I hear it. If an Arsenal or a City or a Liverpool were looking at Joao Pedro, it's suddenly like, oh my God, that's a great deal. Why aren't we looking at it? But then when Chelsea are looking at Joao Pedro, it's suddenly like, oh, he's not a good player. It's not what we need. Suddenly, it's a shocking deal. Suddenly, it becomes a shocking deal. Yeah, no, absolutely, Morning Zombie. Absolutely, you know, it could well be done. It could well be done in the next few days. That wouldn't be a surprise. It wouldn't be a surprise at all. No, we know that. But the example is that if Man City were going to sign Joao Pedro, everyone would be saying, oh, that's a really good signing, smart bit of business. But because it's Chelsea, suddenly it's like, oh, that's not a good deal. Cal, unfortunately, Chile is now past it. Yeah, I don't agree with the treatment, but Chile is past it now, unfortunately. So we got to move on from that. We've got to move on from that, chap. Yeah, Liverpool were linked with Pedro, but I think it's Chelsea and Newcastle who are the front runners, and it looks like Chelsea are going to be the club who go for him. No, not yet. There's not been that many outgoings yet. Kepa's the only one that's gone. Kepa's the only one that's gone from my recollection. The only one that's gone from my recollection, chat. Yeah, bro, I think that's wishful thinking. I think we could be fucked with Sanchez, to be honest. Yeah, new keeper talk has died down. Right now, chances are rated as unlikely for Chelsea to sign a new keeper, but not impossible. Yeah, Penders apparently is doing well in training. Interesting that Penders was on the bench last night and Jorgensen wasn't. Now, that there could be a reason for that. I could be just looking into that and, making something out of nothing. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do with Penders. Personally, he should go on loan to Strasbourg, but Chelsea do have really high hopes for him and really massively believe in him. No, he wasn't out of control. He was rightly fuming. And in the heat of the moment at high level sport, emotions can get the better of you. But he was absolutely right in what he said. And he was just saying what everyone was thinking. But anyway, let's get on to it, chat. Let's get on to the Jamie Gittens stuff now, because the Jamie Gittens deal is done. First part of the medical done. But let's just have a quick talk about a couple of things with Gittens, chat. A couple of things with the Gittens deal that I didn't cover in the video yesterday because the information wasn't out. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Bayern Munich tried to offer important money for Gittens and hijack the Chelsea deal, but the player wanted Chelsea only. Well, I'm not... Look, whether you think this is true or not, whether that's Chelsea putting out sort of positive PR to try and make it look like they sort of beat off competition from a big club, I don't know. When you start going down those sorts of rabbit holes, chat, you start just not believing anything, or you start thinking that everything's a conspiracy. Let's just take this for what it is. Look, he only wanted us because probably he's got more chance of playing at Chelsea than he does at Bayern. He wants to come back to England, to London. He's from the Man City Academy. He knows a lot of the lads already at Chelsea. So, yeah. Those are all reasons. Mate, look, if there was an equal chance, if there was the same amount of chance to get first-team football at Bayern as there was at Chelsea, then maybe it's a different conversation. But with Coman, with Gnabry, with Elise, Gittens is going to find it difficult to get into that team. So maybe if there were the same opportunities, then it might be a little bit different. The total package for Gittens is £55 million all in. £55 million all in, chat, including add-ons. Now, we don't know how much of the fee is up front and what percentage the add-ons are. We don't know. We don't know how much of it's add-ons. We don't know what the base fee is up front. But what we do know is that we haven't really negotiated this deal very well at all. I have to be honest. I have to be honest here. Look, we were desperate. We got the player in. We needed the player. He was a key target for the club. Fair enough. We got that done. So let's give a little round of applause for that. However, we didn't negotiate anything because we paid exactly what they wanted. We paid exactly what they wanted. And for a player that Dortmund don't want anymore because it doesn't suit the system under Niko Kovac, Chelsea, essentially, chat, we paid probably 15 to 20 million pounds more than anyone else would have done. The Club World Cup tax was absolutely shameless. We bid 42 million pounds before the Club World Cup, and after the Club World Cup, we've had a deal accepted for 55 million. So 13 million more pounds after the Club World Cup, when we didn't want to pay Club World Cup tax, right? And we don't even have the benefits of using him in the Club World Cup. Where's that been reported? Has that been reported by... No, bro, Kovac come in, change the system, and the system don't really suit Gittens, which is why he dropped out of the lineup. He still featured a bit, but he wasn't starting as regularly. He wasn't starting as regularly over the second half of the season due to the system change, because the system didn't suit him as well. No, I'm not complaining. We got the player and we needed the player. All I'm saying is that this deal has once again exposed us for being shit negotiators. That's all I'm saying. And we are shit negotiators. There's no denying that, you know. We did pay what they wanted. They wanted 65 million euros, which is 55 million pounds. The total package is 55 million pounds. So we have given them what they want. Yeah, including add-ons. So we have given them the total package that they wanted for Gittens. You know, our negotiating is not good, but ultimately the player's in. We needed a player on the left wing, and we've got one. But again, this deal has exposed that we are shit negotiators, chap. We are shit negotiators, and that's something that really, really needs to improve. Something that massively needs to improve very, very quickly. Something that needs to improve quickly, chap. Because otherwise, we will get taken advantage of in almost every negotiation we go into, because we haven't got shrewd negotiators. We don't have best-in-class sporting directors. Where's this 42 up front coming from with 13 add-ons? Who's reported the 42 up front with 13 add-ons? Where's that been reported, chat? Can someone please tell me? Because I've not seen that. All I've seen is 55 million pounds. No, bro, they demanded 65 million euros, not pounds. They demanded 65 million euros, which is 55 million pounds. You're just getting a bit confused between the currencies. The price was 65 million euros. 65 million euros, bro. But look, Gittens, in theory, the profile suits Chelsea. It's a profile that's, in theory, on paper, perfect for Enzo Maresca's system. It's now about him delivering and doing the business and adapting as quickly as possible. You know, it's about adapting as quickly as possible, chap. He's going to need time. I'm sure he'll probably train with the squad in the US potentially. And the first glimpse of Gittens we'll probably see is on the 7th, is at the beginning of August, when we play friendlies against Bayer Leverkusen and AC Milan at Stamford Bridge. That's going to be the first time that we probably see Gittens. It's a shame that we didn't get this deal done before the Club World Cup, but it is what it is. He's through the door now. Well, bro, I wouldn't count our blessings just yet. I wouldn't count the blessings just yet, because you never know. We could still go for him. We could still go for him. We could still go for him, chap. There's every possibility that could still happen. There's every possibility that could still happen, chap. But let's hope that it doesn't happen. But I hope he does. I really hope Gittens does well. It's not the most exciting signing. It's not got me on the edge of my seat, and the saga's been going on for ages that it's kind of lost a bit of its, initial sort of excitement hit. But he's in. Let's hope that he does well. I don't think he is, to be honest. I don't think he is. Chat, keep smashing up the likes. We're over 200 in the building. We're on 99 likes. Let's get this up over 100 likes, chat. Run it up, run it up. Keep smashing the like button and keep subscribing, guys, if you are new. round here. That would be greatly appreciated. Smash the likes and smash that subscribe button. We're 35 subs away from 17.1. Let's get to that. Let's get to that. Let's try and get to it, chat. 35 subscribers away from the next milestone. Let's run it up. Like and subscribe, people. Yes, yes, yes. Can I become a mod? Yes, you can, Morning Zombie. Let me just mod you now. As moderator. Bro, you should now be modded. You should now be modded. I wouldn't rule it out, Andrew. I wouldn't rule it out. Look, I'm not sitting here saying it's likely or it's a definite possibility. But I don't think it's a complete no 100%. Right, we want more mods in the house. Let's mod you. Right. Yeah, PSG into Miami is an absolute fucking training session for PSG. Into Miami getting absolutely exposed. Absolutely exposed, chat. No doubt about it. Fully exposed. And look, Antonio Silva was very, very impressive last night. Very, very impressive. He's only 21 years of age, but he looked very good. I can't lie. He looked very, very good. I mean, all the reports are saying we're not going to revisit a deal for Mignan, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. Who knows at this point, chat? It could be a possibility. Look, West Ham are considering a move for Robert Sanchez. That was the last information on it that I saw. But yeah, I'm not sure how likely that's going to be, chat. I'm really not sure how likely that's going to be. So yeah, look, Gittens is through the door, and let's hope that he does really well. Let's hope that he does really well, because we're desperate for options on the left wing, and we need someone good on there. We need someone good on there. We need someone good. Although, I have to be honest, I would rather we get a top-level winger in, and then Gittens was the understudy. Maybe that can still happen, but I don't think so personally. I don't think it will. I don't think it will be, chat. So we've yeah. I suspect that Gittens is going to be the main guy. I suspect that Gittens will be the main guy. So yeah, Gittens is in. Liam Delap's in. Joao Pedro could well be next. But there's very little updates, chat. Very little updates on the defensive side of things. You know, on the defensive side of things. I would have expected a bit more information on possible left back cover coming in. We haven't really had anything on that. You know, we heard a little bit about Joao Pedro towards the start of the window, and there's literally been nothing concrete since. Nothing concrete since in regards to anything to do with Joao Pedro, chat. To do with Joao Pedro, there's been fuck all. Absolutely fuck all. But one thing that has advanced is the future of Carney Chukwuemeka. Because it looks like, chat, it looks like, by the way, that Dortmund shirt that Dortmund Club World Cup shirt is fucking class. It's fucking class. That Dortmund Club World Cup shirt, chat, is great. Dortmund always do great kits. Borussia Dortmund plan to include Chukwuemeka for the rest of the Club World Cup. Negotiations on an extension of the loan are nearing completion. I think this makes sense for all parties. Chukwuemeka is still only 21. He didn't play enough over the second half of the season for Dortmund to activate their buy option or for the release clause to be activated. And I think it makes sense for Chukwuemeka to spend another season on loan. Hopefully he can stay fit. Hopefully he can put the injury issues behind him. And then, we can move on from there. Hopefully that can happen. No, they shouldn't be, because the MLS Cup winners were meant to be in there, but FIFA changed the rules and put the Supporters' Shield winners in there so that Messi could play. It was absolute fraudulence from FIFA, and I'm glad to see Inter Miami getting slapped up, because they shouldn't even be in the competition. And look, I like Chukwuemeka. I do like him. But ultimately, chat, there's no space for him at Chelsea, and a season at Dortmund will do him really good, and hopefully he does well so that Dortmund will buy him permanently, or it brings more suitors to the table. That will be the ideal situation. It either makes Dortmund activate his clause, or it brings more suitors to the table, chat. More suitors to the table would be absolutely spot on for this Chukwuemeka and Dortmund thing. But yeah, I'm happy with this. If he stays on loan, it'll be good. I think the Bundesliga suits him. Injuries have killed him so far, no doubt about it. But there's still plenty of talent there. There's plenty of ability there. And I look forward to seeing how he does in the Bundesliga next season. Let's just get that deal sorted out. Let's get that loan extended. And then we can move from there. Chat. Very, very simple. It's now 4-0 to PSG. Inter Miami getting slapped up. It's what we love to see. Chat. He didn't really do anything wrong. He didn't. But, ultimately, we signed more players since then, and he just doesn't fit in. And that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. He just don't really fit in. And that's the reality of it. He doesn't really fit in. So get a good loan spell under his belt. And then go from there. Yeah, we could start to hear more news on July 1st, considering that's the end of the financial year. Well, he did show some desire, yeah. I'm just sort of wondering where the fuck was that, throughout the second half of the season. Maybe he's showing some desire to get himself into the shot window. Maybe that's what's happening with Nkunku, JC. Maybe he's showing some desire to get into the shot window. Absolutely no idea. I think there's a high chance he does. I think there's absolutely a high chance that he does, for sure. So yeah, we will have to wait and see, chat. We will have to wait and see on that front. By the way, people, there's 270 people in the building, only 124 likes. Smash that like button. Let's get this up to 150, 200 likes, chat. Get to work, smash the like, and keep subscribing as well. But let's get these likes up, chat. Mods, let me know when we're on 150 likes, 200 likes. Run it up. This is it. This is it at the end of the day. Yeah, he has been working a bit harder when he's been coming on. And look, he was good last night. There's no doubt about it. But I think we have to be very honest with ourselves, chat, that, you know, Nkunku's Chelsea career is most likely done. It is most likely done. That's what we need to be. That's what we need to accept here. The Chelsea career for Nkunku is most likely done. But it's good to see him contributing. And when he's plays like that, I haven't got an issue with him playing. The problem is he's not played like that anywhere near enough. And the effort and the intensity has been really lacking. So I'm hoping that he can continue to perform like he did in that game, because he could be really useful for us in the latter rounds of the Club World Cup, chat. He can be really useful for us off the bench. You know, he can be very, very useful option. And that's exactly the sort of options that we need. Exactly the sort of options that we need. But yeah, it looks like Chukwuemeka's going to extend his loan at Dortmund. I haven't got an issue with that. I think that's a good move. But other outgoings, you know, are very, very slow. Very, very slow. But there's still plenty of time for outgoing. So there's not really any issue there. There's not really any issue there. I'm not massively concerned about it. I'm not massively concerned about it. But we will... Yes. Big up to Morning Zombie. 285 in the building. We're climbing. Keep getting these likes going and keep subscribing, chat. The place to be for all the latest transfer news. Regular viewers to the channel know this is where it pops off during the transfer window. We are live every day, or there is content going out every single day, chat, in regards to the transfer window. So smash the subscribe button if you're new around here and get involved and become part of the community. Introduce yourself in the chat if you're a new subscriber. I don't think Nkunku's going to refuse to go. It's a World Cup year and he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be a regular starter. Unfortunately, he's not going to be a regular starter at Chelsea. We just have to accept it for what it is. He's not. And I think it's pretty clear that he's done. Bro, does that mean that every player that comes in, according to you, is not good enough unless they score 20 goals? You know, you're gonna be majorly disappointed and majorly let down if that's what you think. If those are your expectations for every attacking player coming in, because it's not going to happen. There's very few players that are going to come in and will score you 20 goals. That's the reality, chat. That's the reality. You know, we can say what we want about it, but that is the reality. Not many players are going to come in and score. They're going to score the goals. They're going to score you 20 goals. You know, I just think it's unrealistic expectations. Majorly unrealistic expectations, chat. But what else have we got going on? Oh, yeah. We got a small stadium update as well, by the way, chat. A small stadium update. Remember that? We're looking to do a new stadium at some point. You know, it's easy to forget. But we've had a little update from the Telegraph saying that Chelsea held talks with the Mayor of London's office over building a new stadium. Chelsea recently met with officials at City Hall after Sadiq Khan, London Mayor, publicly urged them to speak with his team about whether they wanted to leave Stamford Bridge for Earl's Court or redevelop their existing home. So it's not a major update, but it's the first bit of news, the first little bit of news we've had with anything to do with the stadium for quite some time, chat. For quite some time. You know, for quite some time. I don't know how the conversations went. I don't know what the situation is. You know, I've spoken about the stadium before. Look, we all love... Excuse me. We all love Stamford Bridge, chat. But ultimately, the game evolves with a 10th biggest stadium in the Premier League. Could be 11th now, I think, with Sunderland coming up. And for a top club like us, we don't have a stadium befitting of our status. Chelsea Football Club cannot have the 11th biggest capacity in the Premier League. That can't run. That can't happen. We're missing out on so much revenue. And I hate to talk about revenue, but in a modern game, revenue is so important. And when you're missing out on millions, tens of millions of pounds of revenue, you know, that is a problem. And that's something that needs to be addressed. That is something that needs to be addressed, chat. That has to be addressed. It has to be. Absolutely has to be addressed. What's the point in calling out stuff every single day? You know, I'm not agenda driven. I'll be very fair. You know, I'll praise where it's due and I'll criticize if I don't agree with certain things. You know, I'm not afraid to criticize, but it becomes boring when you just trot out the same conversation, the same, oh, there, this, there, that. You know, at the end of the day, I'm more interested about what's happening on the pitch than fucking off the pitch. You know, I'm more interested in what's happening on the pitch than off it. You know, just build me a decent football team that wins. And whatever you do off the pitch, I couldn't give a fuck. It is very complicated, and it would mean we'd have to go and play somewhere else, probably Wembley, for a good 4 or 5 years if we knocked it down. We would have to knock it down. You know, I think a stand-by-stand redevelopment of Stamford Bridge has been ruled out. I'm pretty certain that was ruled out. So it's either knock it down, go play somewhere else for 5 years, or you or you continue to play at Stamford Bridge whilst Earls Court's being built. We've been wanting a bigger stadium for years now, but if the club are going to change the model and not care for winning, what's the point of a new stadium? Well, a new stadium is going to give you more revenue. That's the point of a new stadium. It's about modernizing as well. It's about modernizing, chat. You know, that's what it's about. It's about modernizing things. And that's exactly what we need to do, because we are being left behind. We are being left behind, chat. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. No doubt about it whatsoever. We are being left behind. Pure and simple, chat. But let's wait and see what happens. This is going to be a slow burn. This is going to be a long slog in regards to stadium news. I wouldn't really expect to hear anything until maybe towards the end of the year. But that was a little brief update on the stadium. But again, it's not a huge update. It's it's just very, very minor, chat. Very, very minor. Brief update, very, very minor. No idea. I would imagine though things seem to be moving quite quickly. I would hazard a guess that maybe in the next week or within the next week, I think a deal could potentially be done in the next week, chat. That's what I'm thinking. A deal could be done in the next week. That would be my prediction. But ultimately, I think the main thing is as long as we get him in, if that's the target we want, then let's get this guy in. If that's the target we want, let's get this brother in. No, Pedro wouldn't be a new striker. He would be. It's being reported that Joao Pedro would be the Christopher Nkunku replacement. So he would be, the versatile attacker that we're looking for. He would be a Christopher Nkunku replacement, chap. That is what we are. That's what's being reported. That's what we're being told. Bro, I hope soon, but I think we've got to prepare ourselves for disappointment on that one. We have to prepare ourselves for disappointment. Maybe Kudus is better than Pedro, sure. And look, it's not an impossibility. Maybe we might end up with both. Maybe we might end up with both, chat. That can't be... Excuse me, that can't be fully ruled out, guys. That can't be fully ruled out. Yeah, exactly. Playing as one of the inside forwards, you know, if we continue with that, you know, it's absolutely a possibility, you know, and he would suit that system. Yes, big up, Daniel. Make sure you keep smashing the likes up, chat. We need another striker, not Pedro. Bro, Nkunku's gone. Nkunku's gone. And Nicholas Jackson, I don't think, is going to be leaving Chelsea anytime soon. So we may as well forget about that. We may as well forget about that, chat, because I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. Look, unless Nicholas Jackson leaves, I don't think we will be signing an out-and-out number 9. I don't think we're going to be signing an out-and-out number 9 unless Jackson leaves. And I think it's very unlikely that Jackson leaves because I don't think anyone's going to bid the money that we want. And I don't think that Jackson is keen at all on leaving Chelsea. What, this one that I'm wearing now? Where did I get this from? Is that what you're talking about? Let me know, brother. No, bro, Rodgers is not... We're not getting Rodgers. We're not getting Morgan Rodgers. Yeah. This is not a football club. This is my one of my mates who lives in Saudi. He runs one of the biggest football academies in Saudi. And this is the shirt. And so when I went out there, he showed me around. He gave me a shirt. Big up to my brother Khalid. Yeah, this is that shirt. It's not a club or anything. Well, it kind of is. It's not a pro club, I don't think. So yeah, that's what it is. Yes, that's the one. That's him, bro. Yeah. What a guy. Yeah, bro. I think unfortunately, Moggs. I think it's the ship has sailed. I think the ship has sailed for Nkunku. It could be too little, too late. On that one. Bro, did you watch the game last night? Because Palmer had a really good game in that position. So let's not run this so it doesn't work because Palmer had a very good game. Palmer had a very good game. So yeah, unfortunately, bro, I totally disagree with you on that one. Totally disagree. It's a possibility. But I feel that with Gittens in, if you're going to go for another left wing, you maybe go for someone a bit more experienced. You don't go for another 20-year-old. But maybe I could be wrong, chat. Maybe I could be wrong on that one. But if you really like Fofana and you want to go for him as an opportunity with a relegation to get him for cheap, then maybe we should. Bro, look, I wouldn't be against Duran, but he looks like he's leaving Al Nassr to join Fenerbahce and Jose Mourinho on loan. Al Nassr have given the green light for Duran to go to Fenerbahce, and the proposal is going to be accepted. And they're just, the Fenerbahce sporting directors just ironing out the final details with Duran and his agent, but it looking like a season-long loan to Fenerbahce for Duran. And they're going to be covering 10 million euros of his salary. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, he does. Palmer does look better in a 10 shirt. He does look better in a 10 shirt, chap. He looks better in a 10 shirt. Oh. The 10 shirt looks good on Cole Palmer. It looks very good, chap. It looks exceptional, in fact. Some things are just right, chap. Some things are just right. Cole Palmer 10. That's what we do. That's how we roll. That's how we roll, chap. Big up to Jersey's FC Soccer Shop for sending me that as well. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop sent it to me. Big up to the guys at Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. This is what I'm talking about, chat. You know, use the code in the bio. The away kits come through. Nice little Cole Palmer number. We've also got, I'm sure you've seen, chat. We've got the home shirt as well. Got a home shirt as well. Of course, you've got the captain on the back. You've got a captain on the back, chat. Does the printing come off? No. I've washed these several times, and the printing does not come off. No. The printing doesn't come off. The printing doesn't come off. Yes, big up to Roadman Chelsea. CP10 up the Chelsea. Yeah, for sure, bro. Bro, it's not Bowley. It's not Bowley. Bowley's taken a back seat quite a while ago. It's who is it? It's basically Egbali. Bowley don't really do very much in terms of day-to-day club stuff. Yeah, they're good. I can't wait for the third. I can't wait for the third kit to come out. The third kit is going to be sensational. It's going to be sensational, chat. The third kit is going to be popping off. Dream signings to challenge. I mean, look, I would have loved a Victor Gyökeres. Go and get me a Mike Maignan. Maignan and a Gyökeres would be great. I think they'd be pretty set, you know. Maignan, Gyökeres, and maybe a Rafa Leao for that left side as well. Maybe a Maignan, a Gyökeres, and a Mo Kudos. Well, bro, we wanted to keep Livramento, but he wanted to go and play. So there wasn't really anything we could do about that because Livramento wanted to go and play. That's just it. You know, we wanted to keep him, but he wanted to go and play. So you can't keep players against their will. What are our chances of getting Leao? I would say Blade Runner, that's pretty slim. Pretty slim chances of getting Leao. Well, to be honest, Mohammed, Gittens is already through the door. So that ship sailed on that one. Gittens is already through the door. But I'm seeing that some people are... yeah, look, Kudos and Maignan would be two very good signings to go along with what we've got. I would be keen for that, chap. I would be keen for that. I would be keen for it. But let's quickly cover this this Hato stuff. Let's cover this Jarell Hato stuff. Let me find it, chat. It's more of an update on Mark Gurhey, but there is some stuff in there on Hato. So let's just quickly find it. It's from Ben Jacobs. Here we go. It's more of a Liverpool-based update, but there's some bits in there about Hato as well. Why Hato when we've got Vega? Because Moggs, Vega's leaving. That's why. That's why, because Renato Vega is leaving. Any chance of Xavi Simons? Never say never, but I think that's looking unlikely. It's looking unlikely, bro. It's looking very, very unlikely. We have to be honest here. We have to be honest here. It's looking very unlikely. And it's just been confirmed now as well, chat, for those of you that wanted to know, or those of you that have asked me previously. Esteval will play for Palmeiras against Chelsea. Confirmed. Vega wants to play centre-back. He didn't want to play left-back. Vega wants to play centre-back because it's his best chance of getting into the Portugal squad for the World Cup. So that it is what it is on that front. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it, chat. And so there we go. Anyway, let's get back to this update. So this is a bit... Liverpool only advanced their interest in Mark Guehi if Crystal Palace's asking price drops. They've got no plans to pay 40 to 50 million. Price will need to be well south of this bracket. Liverpool are still assessing whether Guehi's a genuine opportunity. Palace open to a sale, but Guehi hasn't ruled out running his current deal down. Game time key for Guehi in a World Cup year. Yes, we know that. There's an appreciation for Joao Pedro, which is also shared by Chelsea and Arsenal. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's not that much of an update, to be honest. Yeah, unfortunately, bro, Voltmade's agreed terms with Bayern Munich. He wants to join Bayern Munich, and they're in discussion with Stuttgart to agree a deal. So, yeah, Voltmade won't be on his way. Voltmade won't be on his way to Stamford Bridge. I think one, but I wouldn't. Look, if I had to say, if you had to ask me to bet whether it's going to be one or both, I would say just one. But it wouldn't come as a complete surprise. It wouldn't come as a complete surprise if we potentially did end up with both. But mate, if we ended up with both, I think, you know, kudos would only come if Madueke left. That would be my thing. That would be my thing. That would be my thing, chat. But we see. Do you think if we're only getting one, why not Kudus for similar price? I don't know. Maybe they think that Kudus is too expensive. Maybe they think that Pedro is a better fit for the system. Or maybe they're going to go for both and Pedro's the easier deal to get done first. And then we'll explore the other one later. I don't know. I tend to agree with you on this, Moggs. You know, look, to start with, certainly not. Maybe over the second half of the season, he gets more used to us and builds confidence and whatnot and adapts to the Premier League and the style of play. Maybe he starts a bit more over the second half. But I think, you know, expecting Esteval to play a major role next season is unrealistic, unfortunately, chap. I think it's unrealistic. But who knows? He could prove us all wrong. He could prove us all wrong. But I think it would be a mistake to sort of chuck him straight in, guys. I think it would be a mistake. I mean, look, it could be. I think it's unlikely, to be honest, bro. I do think it's unlikely. By the way, chat, we're still over 200 in the building. Only 158 likes. Let's run it up. Let's run it up. Keep smashing the likes. Oh, Jonas, I thought we were doing well. No one had mentioned Bastoni in the stream. And now Bastoni's been mentioned. Oh, no. No, look, bro. No, Bastoni's not coming. Bastoni's not coming. Yeah, I like him. I think it's a decent profile, a decent fit, and he'd be a good, versatile squad player to have who can make an impact. I don't really have an issue with the signing, but we need more. I don't really have an issue with the signing, but we need more, chat. We do need more. We do absolutely need more. Sure, but unfortunately, bro, that's the market these days. That is the market these days. So it is what it is, unfortunately. It is what it is. That is the situation. That is the situation right now. That is the situation right now. Oh, let's not get copyrighted there. Oh, bro, not Neto over Noni all day in terms of who's got a bigger future at Chelsea. Absolutely, Pedro Neto. You know, I'm only bantering, by the way, bro. Because people always mention Bastoni all the time. But yeah, I'm only bantering. But yeah, no, it's there's not that, bro. It's not. That's the thing. There's not that many top centre backs. That's the reality. There's not that many top centre backs. There's not that many. No, I didn't say we'd get him. I said I hope we'd get him, and I thought, you know, it was a possibility. It could still be a possibility, but it looks like plans could well have changed. It looks like plans could have changed. Yeah, he was good. He put in a good shift and he played well. He's someone that we've historically been linked with, but again, I don't think he's someone we're probably going to go for, chat. I don't think so. I'm wondering now whether Mamadou Sarr is going to be that centre back signing, and we're just looking for a left-sided defender instead. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Bro, I don't think the back line's as bad as you think it is. I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. I really don't. I really don't think it's as bad as you think. We were the third best defense last season. Yeah, we need probably one top class centre back to come in. I'll give you that. We do need one top class centre back to come in, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But yeah, there's very little movement on defenders, chat. Very little movement. I don't know. I don't know what we can expect. Oh, bro, Colwell's done well. Colwell's done well. Yeah, we need. Yeah, keeping Big Wes fit is vital. Absolutely vital. Keeping Big Wes fit, chat. It's massive. It's absolutely massive for us to keep Big Wes fit. Can we do that? I don't know. Only time will tell. I really hope we can. But let's just put him on the Reece James program in terms of managing his minutes and building his fitness back up, because that seems to be paying off, and that seems to be working very well. It seems to be working very well. No, I mean, look, obviously Lavia, James and Fofana were all injured last season. But look, Lavia's coming back now. Let's hope. Yeah, I hope James don't play in midfield on Saturday either. Just go Lavia and Enzo. Or if you, just go Lavia and Enzo. No James in midfield. I don't want to think about that right now, but I'll be pissed if James plays in midfield. I'll be fuming, chat. Absolutely fuming. You can guarantee that. You can absolutely guarantee that. Yeah, it has been absolutely massive, and it seems to be working. So fair play to Maresca and the medical staff and Reece himself. Fair play, guys. Fair play. Yeah, look, I think we're looking at, a centre-back units in general. I think we're probably looking at a 6 or 7 out of 10, chat. There's good players, but there's definitely room for improvement in that area. 100% room for improvement in that area, chat. But no, Santos won't start, because if it's a direct replacement, for Caicedo in midfield, he'll just bring a Sugu in. But I suspect that we'll see something a little bit different. Maybe he brings Dewsbury Hall in. Who knows? Maybe he brings Dewsbury Hall in, but I suspect it'll be a Sugu or Dewsbury Hall to start in the midfield instead of Caicedo, if he sticks with that same system. So it'll be Enzo, Lavia, Dewsbury Hall maybe, or Enzo, Lavia, and a Sugu. That's what I would expect. I don't see Andre Santos coming in because he's not the Caicedo replacement. A Sugu is seen as the replacement for Caicedo in the squad. I agree. I agree that Action should be given a chance. He suits the system much better than Malo Gusto does. But unfortunately, chat, this is where we are. This is where we are. And this is where we are with things. That Gusto is still ahead of Action even though he shouldn't be in regards to this system. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I still think there's a possibility that Action goes on loan. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, chat. Bro, he's not. I don't know why he's saying why he's on this penalty and injured guy. His injury record's not bad at all. We went through this earlier in the show. His injury record is not bad at all. Yeah, Pedro is reportedly quite close. I think it could be done in the next week. We're accelerating our interest, is how it's being described. Accelerating our interest. Bro, selling Madueke is not pure profit because he's not from the academy. So it's not pure profit at all, Madueke. I don't think George will be here next season. I think George will go on loan. That would be my prediction, George to go on loan. Yeah, Antonio Silva was good last night. And we've been someone that we've been linked with historically, but I don't see it. Although Paez, I think, is going to Strasbourg, so I don't know if we'll send Paez and George there, but I think George could well go on loan. Given the attacking players that are coming in and given the competition for places, I just don't think he's going to play enough, chat. I don't think he's going to play enough. That's the very simple reality of the situation. Yeah, everything was against us. FIFA, the referee, the woke nonsense with the weather situation. But we came through. We dug in. Elite level mentality shown. Up against it. Big pressure. And we didn't fold. I would say slim to none. I would say slim to none, bro. Slim to none. But yeah, let's have a quick look if there's any news that has come through in the last few minutes. Otherwise, chat, we're going to round this one out. We're going to round this one out if there's not any news. Let's have a quick look. No, it doesn't look like it. No, there's not. Okay, then, chat. Chat, we're going to round this one out. Big up to everyone that's tuned in this afternoon. Great numbers, great show. Appreciate each and every single one of you. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. Let's wait and see what the next 24 hours has got in store from us. I want Gerhi from Palace. Bring back. Yep, I hear it. But yeah, big up chat for everyone that's tuned in tonight. Great show as always. Pat yourselves on the back. Good show, chat. Loved it as always, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Let's see what the next 24 hours has got in store for us. See if there's any developments on any transfer sagas. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening wherever you are in the world. Smash up the likes on the way out. Please subscribe if you're new around here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Up the Chelsea, and I'm out. Love.